The main significance of the battle along the Talas River lies in the fact that two of the most powerful civilizations of their era collided here, and then during their highest expansion. For more than 100 years, Muslim Arabs have been almost continuously expanding their superstate, the Caliphate. Having defeated Iran at the beginning of the 8th century, they began to invade Central Asia and reach the river Ind. Another mighty force is moving towards them from Far East China, Tan China, having conquered or measured the steppe nomads of the north and the mountaineers of the south, turned its gaze to the west, while it would not be an exaggeration to say that both forces sought to extend their influence to the entire territory. These forces were bound to collide sooner or later. The meeting place could have been India or the Afghan mountains, but it was the small Talas River, on the border of modern Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan.
On your screens, the epic first clash of the 40,000th army of Arabs against 30,000 Chinese. In the first battle, the generals sent archers at each other. It should be mentioned that there were new troops in the Tan army, crossbowmen. On the screen, one of the army was defeated, but in fact, as a result of this battle, the Arabs had to retreat.
Turkic warriors used various types of weapons. These include various battle axes, arrows, spears, and swords. The Turkic had arrowheads, which were diverse. Arrowheads were divided into different types for different needs. Basically, they were three-bladed arrowheads of various shapes, designed for shooting at a lightly armored enemy. Battle axes also found in the arsenal of Turks of the 8th century. The light Turk cavalry was equipped with battle axes. They used them in close combat. The axis has a long handle up to 70 centimeters long and triangular narrow blade.
Gao Zanji, the commander of the Chinese, immediately advanced the spearmen after the victory of the Rifle Division. The light cavalry immediately followed, providing infantry support. Heavy cavalry was positioned on the flanks of both armies. In the rear were additional infantry mixed with cavalry, along with generals. In turn, Ziyad ibn Saleh advanced his numerically superior infantry, hoping to slow down the enemy's advance. When the take was reduced, the soldiers in both lines grabbed their weapons and grappled with each other. In a fierce battle between two armies led by Gao and Ziyad, Gao's cavalry made an attempt to surround the Arab infantry. However, Ziyad quickly responded by sending his heavy and light cavalry to relieve the pressure on his infantry and stop the Chinese horsemen on their way. And more armored spearmen of the Tang army in the center pushed back their opponents while Ziyad's heavier cavalry defended the flanks. As the battle continued, Arabs sent in additional reserves aiming for the flanks of their opponents, but Gao had already withdrawn his reserves, anticipating the move. Despite their equally strong forces, neither side could gain any significant success, and fatigue eventually forced both commanders to retreat.
Spears had a great influence in the armament of the Turks. They were used in almost every battle. Cavalry armed with spears exerted a great pressure on the opponents. The Turks had a wide variety of spearheads. You can see an example of this type of weapon in the picture. It should be noted that the cavalry is equipped with stirrups. The appearance of stirrups added additional points of support for the rider, which in turn made it more effective to conduct combat. This made it possible to inflict the most terrible spear-ramming blows, powerful slashing blows, with a saber without the risk of falling from the saddle.
Detachments of the horsemen of the Karluk Turks appeared in the Talas Valley. God thought that the Karluks would take their side, since they had recently helped them in the Tashkent. But the Arabs believed otherwise. Forgetting about other quarrels, the Karluks attacked the military of the Tang Empire, striking them from the flank. As a result, both sides began to suffer serious losses. As soon as the Karluks began their offensive, Ziyad sent his cavalry. After that, Ziyad attacked the Chinese with his entire army. The Tang army began to suffer heavy losses. At this time, the Karluk horses began to spread across the valley, threatening to surround the enemy from the flank. Gao was first to give a signal to withdraw. Rishi and Wang Zhuxi gathered the scattered army and led the rear guard. The Arabs didn't dare to turn their backs after the departed Chinese. The battle ended with the victory of the Karluks and the Arabs.
In conclusion, this battle was of great significance as it put an end to the Chinese attempts to interfere in the affairs of this region for a long time. On the other hand, it strengthened the influence of Arabs here. One of the most interesting consequences of war is the technology of paper production through Chinese prisoners has spread to the West. The Uyghurs have restored their state in East Turkestan and finally, as Central Asia defended its independence, Karluk Khanate was born in 756 year.